That's a good way to lose your law license.
Okay. Welcome, future lawyers. Matthias and Melissa are two of our BarMax instructors. They've been here with BarMax longer than I have. And I'm Celeste Pagano-Bowles. I'm the content director here at BarMax. We came here today to address some bad advice, some good advice, some bad advice that we see circulating around the internet sometimes. So here's my first piece of bad advice. Let's dive into it. It's not that I'm told. I see over and over again that people have the tunnel vision focus, that their goal in bar exam prep is simply to memorize a whole lot of rules.
Memorization comes at the end. What you want to focus on in the beginning is more learning. What happens is that you can memorize as much black letter law as you want, but it's not going to teach you how to take the bar exam, which it's twofold. And so when you go in, you're not going to know how to answer the questions, and you're not going to know what the graders are looking for, especially in the writing portion.
When a student is practicing MBE questions after the lectures, are they there to test their knowledge?
The majority of the testing should happen on test day, right? I mean, obviously you need to do a couple of trial runs. With MBE questions, I would say 80% of the ones that you do or more should be open book. So I tell them, read the call to question, read the fact pattern, identify the rule or section of rules, right? Because sometimes you can't narrow it down to one specific rule that you think might be triggered. Go to the outline, look through those rules and apply the ones that you think do apply to your fact pattern, and then resolve it on your own. Find the legal conclusion before ever looking at the answer choices. And then once you've found your legal conclusion, you look at the answer choices to corroborate what you've already concluded on. The best way to do it is to do open book MBE and then some testing when needed.
Okay, but when you rattled through the various steps to approaching an MBE question during study, you did not, Matthias, adhere to this piece of advice that I've seen. In MBE questions, read the answer choices first.
I've heard this plenty of times from other students. I've never heard of it. I mean, well, let me put it to you this way. If a student is proposing this method to me, it means they have not passed the bar exam, right? You want to work through the fact pattern and the rule. No, I would never read the answer choices first. Not on an MBE question anyway.
Melissa, have you heard this one? Go with your gut.
Oh,
Have you heard that?
I have heard that.
Okay. I was like, it was early in my days here. Oh, Matthias, your face.
That's a good way to lose your law license.
Okay.
Yeah. So go with your gut is probably the worst thing you can do on an MBE question. You have to go through the legal IRAC analysis first, because they are really good, the NCBE, in writing answer choices that sound good. Going with your gut, it's your emotions, and the law honestly doesn't have anything to do with emotions, especially on the MBE portion of the exam.
What I've sometimes told students when I was doing more tutoring, I'd say, don't look at the answers first. 3 of them are wrong. So we're going to go with our brain, not our gut. What about essays? We haven't talked about essays yet. And what I see people doing is they say, I can't do essays yet. I haven't memorized the rules. How am I going to write an essay? Melissa?
You can try to identify the issues. You may be able to, you may not, depending on your level at that point. You can look up the rules. You should do it. Write the complete rule. It's reinforcement. It's how you're going to learn those rules. You're going to make that rule, fact, pattern, association. And then what you're going to really practice is your analysis, right? Those are where a lot of your points are awarded, is finding the relevant facts and applying them to your rule. So again, another form of reinforcement, because you're now not only writing the correct rule, now you're applying it to those facts.
We encourage you to submit 2 or 3 essays open book very early in your process of bar study, so that you can make sure you're getting the writing where it needs to be. So we encourage you to submit early. And here's the thing with BarMax. If you are a BarMax student or are considering becoming a BarMax student, the minute you buy BarMax, you have access to our entire program, including the essay submission board. Turning in those essays, 10 of them come with your program. It's a benefit that you have right off the bat, so take advantage of it right off the bat. I have here the 2023 outlines this is the UBE book. You can see that it's pretty thin, right? And this is our entire book. Like it has all of the outlines, and that's short. And some people get concerned because we have some competitors that will give them a stack of 5 books or 9 books or whatever. Some people say it might not be everything I need. So is more bar prep materials better, Melissa?
No, more prep is not better. And I think more material tends to overwhelm most students because you get disorganized and there's things in different places. That's our outlines. And then you're going to have your practice questions and your performance tests, whether you're in the California or UBE. All of that also comes in BarMax, but it comes in a file. It's a lot easier to organize than having pieces of paper all over the place.
I have one more kind of big topic to discuss, and I'm going to throw it at you in terms of another myth. When I first studied for the bar exam, I took a program that had a big pile of books. They had me listen to pretty lengthy lectures, maybe 7 hours a day of lectures. I would like grab some food and I would go home and I would study until late into the night. And I estimated a lot of days it added up to 16 hours that I was studying for the bar. And yet I never felt like I was doing enough. It was very stressful. Do our students need to study 12 to 16 hours a day for the bar exam? Matthias?
No, I never studied 12 to 16 hours. Never. I don't think I've ever done anything for 16 hours other than sit on a plane. But yeah, no, I would it's slow and steady. It's a marathon. Set about a schedule. And then if that schedule is outside of work or whatever it be, then figure out when you're mentally the freshest. If this is all you're doing, a lot of the July takers are full-time studying. Just treat it like a job. Punch in, punch out, get your net 8-9 hours a day. And then after the 4th of July break, yes, you're going to be on closer to like 10 to 12 hour days. But that's including everything, right? Your lunch and a couple of breaks. If the anxiety carries you through in the last few weeks and you are pulling 12-hour days, then that's fine. But a 16-hour day, I don't see any, unless you're someone who doesn't sleep much, has nothing else that they need to be doing. I just don't think that that's a good way to let everything percolate that you're studying.
Okay, so we're saying it's not 12 to 16 hours a day. It's a smaller clock.
Right.
Any advice on scheduling?
So I really, I agree with Matthias, treating it like a job. But if you already have a full-time job, which a lot of our students do, or part-time jobs or family commitments, then you block out the times that you can study and you treat it as this is the time I can devote each day. And whatever that is, it can be enough. You just need to make sure whatever those blocks of time are, you're getting through the material. It may not be day to day on our calendar. You may have to look at it weekly and do some more on the weekends if you only have a few hours during the week, but it's still doable. It's not voluminous amounts of information. I mean, obviously there's a lot you need to know, but it's also prioritizing what you need to know and what's being tested. And so that's where application also comes in. And so you can do that in the time you have. You just need to make sure you're focused in that study time. Just like, when you're fresh, when you can devote and you're not spacey or tired or anything like that, because self-care is really important because you don't want to burn out.
Trust in the process, but in addition to that, stay consistent. Don't come in throwing haymakers, right? Just slow and steady wins the race. Start establishing a schedule that you can stick by, something that's reasonable, but that also meets the ultimate deadline of being ready by exam day. I think that the general vibe that we give off is that we know what we're talking about, but we're not pretentious. And that's kind of how the course is built too, right? We're just going to tell you what you need to do. And it's coming from a place of, we're on the other side of it, right? We've been doing this for more years than I think any of us care to admit, right? And we have a bunch of students behind us that have gotten this done. And so it's an unnerving process because everybody comes at it from a different point in life, right? But there's a reason why we're here and doing what we do. So yeah, make sure that you get yourself ready to get the most out of the course or the tutoring or whatever, even the study process period, right? And it's not a commitment of heart, it's a commitment of like scheduling and discipline. And so that's what I would tell my students, right? It's not the bar exam is not always a meritocracy, unfortunately. It's what it does is reward efficiency. And that's what I would say is be efficient and disciplined.
Be efficient, be disciplined. Contact us if you have more questions. We're here. We want to see you pass, and good luck.